not really very valuable anyway. You know, it's more like, okay, you're stuck here now. What do you got to do to survive? You
There
know,
you go. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
like
The first time I walked into a supermarket and I had to have the mask on, it was surreal for me. Because I was
yeah,
just like, and then, people are social distancing, so they're like stepping away. And normally, I'm that person when I go in the store, like, hi, how are you? And I give you a smile and I keep it moving. Well, I found
yeah.
myself not able to do that. And that was so strange for me. I was like, wow, this is really, really odd.
Yeah, that's
Not,
one of the downsides I think of it big time is like I hope that when this is all over that people can kind of return to actually being social and
yeah,
helping each other out because a lot of people are going very distant from each other now, even with or without masks, you know, it's like causing a lot of people to just step away and it's kind of removing that human connection a bit, which I
yeah,
hope that
yeah.
that doesn't last, you know, like because like a lot of people they're just sitting there watching the news all day and not wanting to be next to anyone. But fair enough at the moment with COVID, but hopefully when it's all over, we can actually go back to interacting and supporting each other
Yeah,
and you know giving
just
people a hug.
we have so many talk shows here, and so now when you watch the new season has already started. So when you watch these people come on, they can't shake hands. Normally they give somebody a hug or whatever, and it's so odd to see that. And I'm just like, well, I can't wait for that moment where you can walk out and hug somebody or shake their hand, and
Yeah.
because to me, like you said, that's that human connection that keeps us all so supposedly civilized. I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's important too. Like, I mean, you need that human connection. Like, I love, like, I'm a very social person. I would always give people a hug, and you know, it's just I hope that we can go back to that again. Like, it's just hard to know when.
Fintan, let me tell you something. You are amazing on social media. I have seen some of your videos,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm like, wow,
Thank
unbelievable. I'm gonna tell
you
you
very much.
one of my favorite videos of you are with the sunglasses on. Look,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
If that,
You're gonna
yeah.
have to pull those out before this interview's over.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking around for them now. This is the room where I had those. And I'm like, oh, here they are. Yeah. So it's evening time now, though. Hello there.
There you go, Brianna.
Yeah,
I love it.
so
I
funny doing
love
those
it.
videos, like, because I'm just sitting there with like a camera on a tripod, and you're like
Uh-huh.
trying to be comical, but like, oh shit, I forgot to even press record, you know, like halfway through, like doing it over and over again, like trying to trying to be funny, no one else there, like,
Hey,
but
now I'm gonna get those shades now. Brianna says, I love that. I love it. She got whisper in my ear. Are you gonna ask him about the sunglasses? You gonna ask him about the shades? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it.
I'll keep them on. I'll keep them on for.
Keep them back on for you, just
Yeah.
for you.
Nice.
See,
I'm
I
glad you
never
like
get
that. Like I'm
sunglasses
lucky
like
that
that.
what was that?
I said, now I'm gonna get sunglasses like that.
I don't even know where I got these from. Like these are just the sunglasses in my studio. They're not even mine.
It's like when you put them on, you have your personality does a switch on you, and you're like, yeah, I'm cool now. Hey, like, yeah, it's like your whole vibe just changed. You put those sunglasses on, just so you
Yeah,
know.
they carry my mojo. Like you know, these sunglasses are. There's this one bass player in a band that I really like, and he just always wears sunglasses while he's performing. You know, he's like, I swear they give him superpowers. Like something about
So
when
here's the when you go back on tour, you're gonna have the sunglasses on, right?
I'll have to keep them on always. Like, yeah, it's just it's quite hard to see what you're doing on the guitar and everything when you're wearing sunglasses in the dark.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look so cool with those. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm loving it. I
No,
love it.
glad you like it. Nice one. Cheers. Like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, his whole mood is he's like, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love this.
I'm
The thing
chill.
with the
Yeah.
sunglasses, people really can't see your face, so you can kind of just like be chill. Yeah, but and he is so chill right now.
Yeah.
It's like it's unbeliquable. He's got
Definitely
this
gives
really
you a bit
nice
of
big smile
confidence. Like,
on.
yeah, it's almost like having a mask. You know, you can just be a different person
Yeah.
now. You got it on. That's why I tried doing those videos without them first. I was like, this isn't working. I got to put some sunglasses on. I was like, all right, hello.
I don't even have mine. I was like, when I interviewed Fintan, I'm gonna put my sunglasses on. Lord, I don't even have mine on, but I was going to do that. I was like, because that I think that is the coolest thing ever.
You
I
might
was
need to
like,
wear them for
when
all
I
your
saw
interviews from now on, eh?
no, because then I'll say, I can't see your face. Can you take those off? So
Yeah, okay,
I'm gonna say that just for you. I'm gonna
yeah.
say that just for you. Mine are probably in the car. That's
Yeah,
probably where
yeah,
mine are.
yes.
So
That's where mine usually are, right? Yeah. Nice.
what's your latest song that you just released?
That's Goodbye.
It's Goodbye. Where did that come from?
I wrote and recorded that entire song since the lockdown set in here. Like when I just finished building the studio about the beginning of March, then it was full
Okay.
lockdown. So it was about
Okay.
a couple of weeks of kind of sulking and feeling sorry for myself because my tour got
Oh.
cancelled and everything, you know. But then eventually I got over it. Was like, all right, I got to try writing some music. So I started writing this song, recorded the entire thing, mixed it, did everything just in my home studio here.
Okay.
It was the first song I'd ever written that was kind of like more of like a narrative. Like I just kind of actively tried to make it to be more of like a relatable topic. So I thought I'd try and make it like a kind
Okay.
of a love song, but I didn't want it to be like kind of just your everyday like wishy-washy love song. It's a bit soppy and stuff. So I tried to make a love song that was kind of like looking at it from the other point of view of like maybe like a breakup and like the kind of harsh reality of that you would have built a life with somebody and that you there's more at stake than just the relationship. You know, you might have a house and family and all these things, and so you're so many people must be holding on to their relationships just because they don't want to lose all these other aspects of their life that comes with it. You know, it's sad, but it's I suppose it's the reality for a lot of people. So I thought I'd try and make a love song more looking at it like that, just because I just hate when the lyrics are too obvious and it's you know what I mean, predictable.
Okay.
And lyrics are just like cringy to me. So I thought if I'm gonna make a love song, I better do it right. And so yeah, it's not something I'm going through myself at the moment, but it's
I was gonna ask you. So, are you going through a breakup? Are you with someone in a
I have a
relationship?
partner. I'm madly in love with a girl here that I live with. Like when when I was writing and recording the chorus for that, I remember one day she was outside the studio and heard the lyrics. She's like, "What?" And like thinking,
It's not about us, honey. It's
yeah,
not
no,
about us.
honey, I swear this isn't about us. That's the thing. Like it's like people would assume that if you're singing in the first person that it's always autobiographical. Do you know?
Mhm.
Like I try to not write things that are actually about me, like as a person straight away, you know, like definitely like I'm drawing influences from my life experiences. Like I'm not just
Mhm.
making
Mhm.
it up like entirely, but yeah, I try to always kind of keep things quite abstract in my lyrics, just to almost like a lot of metaphors and try to let people think more about what the words are saying instead of it just being so obvious, like black and white, what's being said, you
But
know?
well, that's very different because so many artists say when they start writing and turning on all these songs, it's because something that they're going through at that
Yeah,
moment. And so
which is
you're
fair enough.
completely
Yes.
opposite. That's different. I've never heard that before. You're complete opposite.
Yeah, complete opposite, really. Like I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I mean, like it definitely doesn't mean that like I'm being dishonest with these things. I'm not just entirely fabricating these themes, you know, like it's definitely
Mhm.
from experiences I've gone through. I just might
Okay.
not necessarily be going through them at that time, you know. But I think like a lot that must be the case for so many people, like with that song in particular, that they are going through that. So I thought like that's just an interesting thing to talk about, you know, because it's quite a sad
Because
thing.
honestly, I thought the goodbye was like you saying like goodbye to like the way things were before COVID. That was my thinking.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, like that's because again that the lyrics are so abstract at times that a lot of people probably have their own interpretation of them, like which I'm all for people interpreting them in their own way. That's
Uh-huh.
kind of why I try to leave the lyrics quite abstract a lot of the time because people might have their own take on what that means to them, which I think is cool if everyone's thinking about it in their own way because it might kind of click into whatever circumstance you have at the time, you know.
Right. Right.
But yeah, that song is definitely about breakup though.
Uh, if your girlfriend, I understand she probably would have freaked out. She's
Mm.
like, hey, we haven't had a fight. We haven't talked about this. What is he talking about? Why is she singing
So, I've been recording it for weeks, like, and she finally heard some of the lyrics in the chorus and was like, "What the?" I was like, "Oh, honey,
this?
I swear it's okay."
Yeah. I mean, so you said you started writing at a young age. What do you come from a musical background at all?
Yeah, my dad was a drummer in a band called Stump. They did quite well in the 80s in around the UK. And my uncle as well is in a band called Cousteau. They've done very well over the years in Italy and things like that. So yeah, quite a musical family. So I kind of had
Okay,
it.
I remember the group Stomp. Stomp. I remember that group.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, I remember. Fintan, I'm a little older than you think I am, but yeah.
You're looking good though.
No, I remember that. It's almost like in the 80s, there was this huge invasion of like, people from England and Ireland. And I love that sound. I love the music. And
Yeah.
I know I do because it sticks with me to this very day. I love it.
Cool, nice. Yeah, like I mean, coming from a musical family it was so handy for me to get interested in music. It was just there's instruments everywhere and knowledgeable
Mhm.
people around that I can ask about everything. So it was just quite easy for me to fall into it as a career, you know. I'm lucky.
Well, how did your parents really feel about you going down the musical road? Were they
Yeah,
excited or supportive?
they were very supportive. Yeah, so lucky
Okay.
again. Like my mom is an actor too, so like they were my whole family were quite artistic, and so
Okay.
they had already gone through all these experiences themselves of it, so they kind of were able to guide me in the right direction. And yeah, I had a pretty easy life so far with it. Like I mean, because I managed to leave high school at the age of 16 and went to art college then, and then I studied
Oh
acting. So
wow.
yeah, it was so like I kind of had a little jump start when all my other friends were trying to finish high school. I would have been doing all these more artistic courses in college, which kind of just gave me a little head start on life, I think. Because they spend the next like 3 years, all of my peers doing all of these stupid subjects that they didn't want to do, you know, doing maths and physics and things like that that they're never going to use. And I was actually just running around like acting, doing plays and stuff. So I was loving it. It was brilliant.
So here's my question: when you become a father, I'm assuming you're not a dad yet, right?
Not a dad yet, no.
Okay. So would you encourage your child to kind of follow the same road that you did?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm all for like I went very alternative education route by doing all these different artistic things in college and everything. So I would definitely encourage them to do that if they're interested in that, you know. I think
Okay.
one thing that's very important is to completely let them decide for themselves what they want to do, because no one wants to do what their parent is telling them to do, you know. You almost just do the opposite then, don't you? If
I
they
remember.
say
Yeah.
you have to do this, it's like a rebellion. It's like, well, even if I wanted to do that, I'm not going to do it anymore. So it's a fine line, I think, isn't it, of being supportive but also letting them make their own decisions. But yeah,
I think because I grew up in a different time than you, so I remember when my daughter was in high school, and I didn't want her to have that whole high school experience because I just didn't agree with it. So I
yeah,
took her out of school and I
cool,
homeschooled her,
nice.
and I homeschooled her and all the way to into college or whatever. And I remember my mother gave me it was like the biggest bitch fest. I mean, you could imagine. She was like, I don't agree with what you're doing. Why are you doing that? I'm like, oh my God. I said, Mom, education does not have to be in a brick and mortar building. It
Yeah,
does not.
absolutely. Like, yeah, like I mean, it's only a more of a modern Western thing to do nowadays. That's kind of the way it is. But like, what do you think people did for thousands of years, like to educate themselves,
Yeah.
going into these establishments? Like, no, I completely agree. Homeschooling is an excellent way to go. Like, especially like high school can be a ruthless place, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I just did not. I remember my time in high school, and it was brutal. I didn't
yeah.
like it at all,
Didn't
and
want
I
to
didn't
have to
want
go
her to
through
have
that.
to experience stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. I can see where you're coming from. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to know what it will be like when if I have kids, like what the education system will
Mm-hmm.
be like then or where I'll be
Mm-hmm.
living and everything. But so I guess I'll just have to roll with the times. I think definitely letting them go to like the kind of basic forms of school so they can kind of get that little bit of social thing
Yeah.
out of the way
Right.
and learn the bare basics. But yeah, I'm all for alternative education for sure.
I love that. I love that. And it was so funny because she said today, she told me today, she says, Mom, thank you for my education. I was like, where the hell did that come from? I mean, I was in high school forever, but okay.
Yeah.
And she was like, she said, because you showed me something different. And she's a creative as well. What you don't know is that this person right here is my kid. So she works
Oh,
with me. He can't see what. Yeah, this right
oh,
here.
cool.
This, yeah, this is my
Hey
kid.
there. How's
Right?
it going? So
She's
this is
gonna
your
ask me
daughter.
about. Yep,
This is
that's
your
my
daughter
daughter.
now. Ah, cool.
Yep.
What's your name?
Brianna.
Brianna. Nice to meet you. Sweet. Awesome. Well, that must be nice
See,
for you to hear that she's happy with what you